I am the Smashing Machine. Who would have funked it, right? I mean, come on, man. It's mock draft day. We got to bring the smash. Hey, I'm kind of close to Dwayne The Rock Johnson in size. You know what I'm saying? I mean, come on, just add about 100 more pounds of muscle mass. We're on point, right? Now, it is time for a mock draft. We got 3 rounds of action. Let's go, Raiders. You're on the clock at number 1 overall. Also, there are some trades in this draft, too, for us. So we'll see what happens. But Mendoza, this pick's in. I don't really need to talk about this too much. He's coming to Vegas. I'd be shocked unless there's a trade, which is possible too, but ultimately, he's the guy, right? New York Jets. This is where things get a little interesting. They get a little enticing. Oh, am I stereo or am I foreshadowing a pick here with Jordan Tyson? You nope. Wrong. Ruben Bain. I'm gonna go ahead and take the Bain machine, the juiced up edge rusher from Florida. He's just I like him a lot. Man, down the stretch, he was so pivotal. Him and Akeem Mesidor. Amon Moten was great too, but I think that Ruben Bain is just a fantastic football player. And even though he's got shorter arms, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Aaron Glenn's, he doesn't have to, like, he had Aiden Hutchinson. He had shorter arms. He'll figure it out. Ruben Bain's absolute freakazoid off the edge. Now we go on to the Arizona Cardinals. And I am going to be taking Francis Mauigoa here, right tackle from Miami, back-to-back Hurricanes off the board. They need to solidify that right tackle position. The right side of their offensive line generally needs improvement. Let's improve it. Titans. We're going to go ahead and this is just Mekhi Lemon. I am a huge Mekhi Lemon fan. I think he is a fantastic player. Yes, he's small, but don't make fun of him. Don't call him a midget, man. He's a fantastic player and somebody I want on my football team. And he's a good blocker, too. And then we go on to the Giants. Let's go ahead and solidify those trenches, baby. You know it is. John Harbaugh, get a big physical monster. Spencer Fanu, right tackle, plug and play. Even Illuminor's back. We can always figure it out between Fanu and Illuminor. One of them starts at right guard. That's the worst case scenario. Oh my goodness, this is not good. You know what I mean? No, I mean, that's a good situation to have. And I think Fanu is an excellent player. On to the Browns at number 6 overall. We're going ahead and taking quarterback here, Ty Simpson. Just kidding. Psyched you out on that one. I'm going Jordan Tyson here. I'm going to go ahead and rock in that number 1 wide receiver. They need it. And then, especially with those receivers or offense tackles off the board. But trade alert. Bing, 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 bing. We got the Commanders. Oh, making a trade. Who are they going to come move up to number 7? And that pick is going to be, oh, whoops, here we go. Get a little too far ahead of my graphics. But boom, there it is. It's going to be the Miami Dolphins. They're moving up from number 12. They're giving up a 3rd and a 4th rounder for the Commanders, who really can use some more draft capital. Trying to get younger, trying to get better off in their roster. Dolphins also need to get younger and better too, but they've got a lot of draft capital, and they say to themselves, we want to get a young stud in our defensive backfield, somebody that's going to be a game changer. And that game changer is going to be none other than Flickering Knights, Caleb Downs, safety from the Ohio State University. The Buckeye makes his way to the Sunshine State and get themselves that stud back-end defender that can game change their defense. I know it seems kind of crazy trading for a safety, you might be saying, but hey, I think Caleb Downs is arguably the best player in the draft, and finding a stud like that, it's going to help out your defense immensely, big time. But we're not done with trades. New Orleans hitting the phones. Mickey Loomis is busy, and he is making a trade down with the Baltimore Ravens in this case scenario. And the Ravens are going to be giving up pick 80, pick 152 to move up to number 8. And they are going to be selecting an edge rusher in the name of David Bailey, the Bail-a-thon man from Texas Tech, who gives them that supercharger power off the edge that they desperately need in Baltimore. And Jesse Minter saying to himself, ooh, I've got myself that pass rush. Yeah, but on to the Chiefs here at number 9. I'm actually excited for Jesse Minter. It's a good hire. Chiefs, number 9. We are going to be go ahead and selecting Carnell Tate, wide receiver from the Ohio State University, a big physical outside wide receiver that gives the Chiefs something they have not had in a very long time. And maybe going back to like the Josh Gordon days. So they get themselves a nice young wide receiver on the outside. But hold on. We've got another trade incoming. The Bengals are trading down now at this point, and they are going to be trading with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who are giving up picks 77 and a 2027, not 2024. I mean, I don't know. I guess you could give up a negative. You could go back in time, something. But they're giving up a 2027 typos. Bing, 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 bing. But yeah, I'm really bad with those sometimes. But a fourth round pick in 2027. And then you go ahead, you're on the clock now. And we are going to be taking Sonny Styles, linebacker from the Ohio State University, to give them that stud linebacker going from a Hall of Famer to hopefully another Hall of Famer. Sonny Styles is one of the best players in this draft. He might be the best player, non-quarterback in this draft. Stud. I mean, come on. There's not much to say about him. Commanders on the clock here at number 11. After the trade down, we're taking Arvell Reese. He's the best player on the board. Let's try to rock him up for Dan Quinn off the edge. They need edge rushing talent. They need defense. Even if he plays off the ball linebacker, they need help there too. Arvell Reese, super powerful human being that brings the boom off the edge, hopefully for the Commanders. Cowboys, number 12 here for the Dallas Cowboys. The lights are shining for Jerry Jones. He's going to be selecting his cornerback one, Mansour Delane. And he is a guy that I think is just so sticky in man coverage. The athleticism is going to be talked about. We'll see what he tests like at the combine, but ultimately he has all the skills to be their number one guy. Now we go on to the Rams here at number 13 overall on the clock. Thought about a couple of different options here, but ultimately I settled in at going after a corner as well, and I'm taking Gerard McCoy. Gerard McCoy is a fantastic football player that just was out for this season, so there is a little bit of uncertainty there with how he comes back and what does he look like. He still had plenty of play, though, on film in 2024 and even 2023, and showed off his high-level play. And they need a number one corner in this secondary. They've been longing for that for a minute, and they have finding guys later in the draft or finding dudes of free agency, etc. Let's find that long-term answer. New Orleans, after the trade down with the Baltimore Ravens, we're on the clock. We're taking Vega Ioane here, the offensive guard from Penn State. This is one where you plug him into that left guard position, and you have an improved interior offense line. They need to improve that interior. It's been pretty bad. Moving on to the Cincinnati Bengals after they traded down as well. And with number 15 overall, I am going to be selecting defensive tackle Peter Woods. Peter Woods is going to be that stud young player up on the interior, and hopefully he can be that great combo with Chris Jenkins. They did improve a little bit at the end of the season. TJ Slayton and BJ Hill, but however, I still think they need some add some help there, and it's been a problem for them. So Peter Woods gives them that young strength, speed, athleticism profile with those clubs and monster hits that he's able to whack-a-mole up in people. And then we go ahead and go on to the New York Football Jets here, number 16 overall. Couple of different areas, but this was a surprise, or even for me, and what I didn't really see this one coming, but it came out of left field, and I'm going Air Love, Jeremiah Love. With Breece Hall being an impending free agent and likely maybe not back, doesn't look like he's going to be back. We bring in the great Air Love to be that answer at the running back position. On to the Detroit Lions, number 17 overall. I'm getting sticky. I'm getting crispy. I'm going with a left tackle here, Caden Proctor from Alabama, the big mountain of a man that moves incredibly well for a guy his size. He's just, man, it's so impressive. His strength profile is insane. Yes, he's got to work on some things, leverage, technique, hand placement. But boy, that guy has got some talent. I really like him. And it's not your same old Alabama tackle. Say that right now. On to the Vikings. Skull, the battering up, where we're going to be going ahead and taking Avion Terrell, the corner from Clemson. He's a great player. I just think he's going to be a guy that maybe isn't the most ball production guy, but I just think he's going to be fantastic as a cover player. Booming right into that secondary with Rodgers and Byron Murphy. On to the Carolina Panthers at number 19 overall. I do think edge is still the top knee for them. I'm going to go Keldrick Falk. He's not the most pass rusher guy, but him and Nick Gordon and Princely Umamiala building a really young core off the edge that can give them that talent, give them that juice, because it is a problem. And Falk can also play a little inside for them on their defense. And then we go on to the Cowboys. We're making a trade now, trying to trade down, and we're going to be trading with the Cleveland Browns. We're giving up pick 70, which is the third round pick. It allows the Cowboys to kind of even out that draft capital a little bit. And then for the Browns, we're going to be moving up for a quarterback. Caleb Lomu, tackle here. Strike one, strike two. I'm going to go get a tackle. They need a tackle bad. On to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Not Jaden McCarthy. Mike McCarthy is the new head coach, which is a very interesting, I don't know how I really used to put that, but interesting coaching hire. I know they did beat them in the Super Bowl. Maybe the Rooney's like, hey, they beat us in the Super Bowl, but I'm going Omar Cooper Jr. from Indiana. I love Omar Cooper. I just was watching him too, and I'm like, yeah, I keep falling in love with Omar Cooper. I'm an IU grad, so there's some bias here. Let's go Hoosiers! But Omar Cooper, so good. Oh my gosh, I can't deny how I think he's fantastic. Hey, it wouldn't shock me he's better than one of those top 3 wide receivers. Really good football player. On to the Chargers, going with Manuel Pregnon. Self-explanatory. Offensive line, they need a center. They need guard, possibly. Mekhi Becton could be on the way out, so improve. Zion Johnson's a free agent too. I think they bring him back. But on to the Eagles here, number 23 overall. We're going to be selecting Colton Hood. The boys in the hood make their way to Philadelphia because now they've got a dynamic duo between Quinion Mitchell, Cooper DeJean, and now Colton Hood. He's a super athletic corner. I'll see what he tests like at the combine, but I thought he was super sticky at Tennessee, played excellent, and really had to be their de facto number 1 corner this season. But now on to the Cowboys here, who traded down, and now they're picking at 24 here, where they're taking Akeem Mesidor, the edge rusher from Miami. Let's go ahead and juice up that defensive line. We add in our secondary piece with Mansour Delaney. Now we go get some edge talent with Akeem Mesidor, who was, just as much as that big presence as Ruben Bain down the stretch for them and what he meant to that football team. Bears now at 25. I'm going to go ahead and go to address some more defensive line as well here. I'm going Caleb Banks from Florida. This guy is a game wrecker. It just comes down to the medicals. And that's really the thing with him. If you check off the medicals, I think Banks is a top 10 player in this draft. His film from last season was just so good. Huge fan of Banks. And they really could use a young stud up on that defense to go along with Gervon Dexter. They have drafted Shamar Turner, but he could also be played as a D end, who you did use as a D end at times. So we'll see how they want to work at that. Do they want to go with the true edge? Do they want to go with an interior defensive lineman? But I'm just trying to take the best available defensive lineman. And I thought he was the best available there. To the Buffalo Bills now at 26 overall. And we're going to be selecting Denzel Washington. No, Denzel Boston coming over from Washington to Buffalo now to be their wide receiver 1. They need a guy. They need the dude in Boston. Yeah, you might say, oh, well, can he separate? I can't. Yeah, he can separate, man. I think he's a really good route runner. I think he's more deceptive than a guy like Keon Coleman, but we'll see. I don't want to give up on Keon Coleman either just yet. However, they do need to add to that wide receiving core. So we're going to Denzel Boston. 49ers are on the clock here at 27. I'm also going to add wide receiver KC Concepcion. He gets his own barbecue sauce here in San Francisco. They need some barbecue sauce. Give me some steakhouse, give me something, but they need some more sauce up in that wide receiving room with Brandon Ayuk on the way out. Houston, number 28. I am going to be selecting defensive tackle Lee Hunter. Offensive line, definitely in consideration here, but Lee Hunter's a heck of a football player. He's a Red Raider through and through. What he brings to the table in that defensive interior with all their free agents and Rankins and Tuttle, Settle, Tim Settle, and that's just finding some young core guys to go along with Tommy Togiai. Now we go on to the Rams here at 29 overall, and I am going to be selecting safety, Emmanuel McNeil-Warren. This guy is just one of the most explosive playmakers in the draft. He is a ball hawk, and you add him in there with Cam Kitchens, you get yourself 2 ball hawks. And this dude has got some immense size profile to take away some lanes across deep portions of the field. He's going to be a perfect fit in there and playing those quarters and 2 high shells. Absolutely. Sign me up all day with him and Shula. Now we go ahead and go on to the Broncos here at number 30 overall. I'm going to go take tight end Kenyon Sadiq to be their mismatch joker, unbelievable dynamic weapon here. Put a smile up on your face type of thing. Kenyon Sadiq, the monster from Oregon, who gives you that athleticism profile. He's not actually a bad blocker either. I think he can play in line. He can do a lot of things and get creative with the packages you roam. It just makes it harder as a defense when you have to deal with a heck of a tight end like that. New England, 31 overall. I'm going to take an edge rusher. I'm going Cassius Howell here from Texas A&M. I've fallen in love with this guy, and I just think he's such a good football player. They need more edge talent, even if Kayvon Chaison's back. Seattle, number 32 to finish up the first round. I'm going to be selecting corner Keith Abney here. He is a small corner, but he is a really, really sticky corner. And that's like you pair him up with Witherspoon too. He's going to be that outside guy to go along with Witherspoon, Keith Abney, Witherspoon, and then Eamon Ward. It's like they've got a good, solid difference of style of corners too between those guys. Like I think it gives you a little bit of everything there. And Abney is a playmaking ball hawking machine as well. And I like that. I mean, you want your corners to be able to make turnovers. Abney has showed no problems with that too. Time for some second round action. New York Jets on the clock. I'm selecting Drew Aller, quarterback, Penn State. I am a huge Drew Aller fan. He's my number 2 quarterback in this draft. Strong arm, big QB. He's taking a chance. Maybe he can be Tyler Shook. Maybe he's going to be Christian Hackenberg. I don't know, but I think he's got all the tools, the mindset, the skills. He has to improve with his accuracy. That's going to be his biggest challenge. I like him though, and I'm taking a chance. On to the Cardinals. I'm also taking a chance on quarterback. I'm going Ty Simpson here. Played great the first half of the season. Got to improve, get better with his decision making. That was a big problem for him at the second half of the season. Titans at 35. I'm going to go ahead and get secondary. I'm going Brandon Cisse, corner from South Carolina. They need to help that secondary out so bad. It's a big weakness for them. So adding a young secondary player in Brandon Cisse is going to be my mold there. On to the Raiders. I'm going Caden McDonald. I would like also look at offense, but I feel like with the run on offense, let's go ahead and take a defensive player. Caden McDonald was one of the best players on the board here currently. And McDonald is that fierce interior game wrecker who just tears it up in run defense. Their interior defensive line right now needs some influx of talent, some youth. So adding a guy like Caden McDonald is going to help out this defensive line. And we go on to the Giants here at 37 overall. Another big physical monster, right? And we're going to do that, but this time in a linebacker form. C.J. Allen, exactly what they need in the middle of that defense. They need somebody that can just be that explosive, downhill, attacking animal. And that is Allen. And what he brings as a run defender is scary good for the G-men. Houston, number 38 overall. I'm selecting Max Ihanachor, tackle. And he can plug right into right tackle for them. I mean, you might want to go ahead and bring back Trent Brown for a season, have Ihanachor be a developmental guy, but he has all the tools and the talent. Cleveland, number 39. I'm going with offensive tackle as well, Monroe Freeling. Hey, we go ahead and load up on those tackles, man. Now, one of them's going to have to switch over to right tackle, but at the end of the day, let's go ahead and address the offense line. Hey, put Lomu or Freeling inside if you had to. Kansas City, number 40 overall. I'm selecting Dylan Thieneman, safety from Oregon. He's going to be that back-end patrolling defender to replace Brian Cook, who is a free agent, and maybe there's a good chance that they don't end up paying him. So we have to improve that secondary, and Thieneman is a ball hawk and somebody that's going to really help out, shore up that loss. And even if they bring back Cook, they could still use somebody else over there. But Hicks hopefully will be one of your starters, and then Thieneman would be the opposite end guy. We got the Bengals here. We're at 41st pick, and I'm going to be selecting safety. I just noticed his arm's missing. What happened to his arm? I don't know. It was all that smashing machine. Genesis Smith from Arizona. One of the most rangy safeties in this draft. Like, if you're looking for that true roaming free safety guy, boom, boom, boom. Right here, Genesis Smith. He's got that C on the chest, too. But boy, has this guy got some elite athleticism and traits, size, profile. He's going to replace Geno Stone. Good combination with Jordan Battle. I love the skill sets that they will now bring together and help out that Bengals secondary. On to New Orleans, 42. I'm taking Chris Bell. At this point, let's go ahead and try to find whatever we can to improve this offense. And Chris Bell's going to be that guy. First round, we focused on a trade down and getting an offensive guard. Now we get a wide receiver in Chris Bell to help out Tyler Shook in that offense. Just firepower everywhere, right? Now we go on to the Dolphins at 43. First round, we went after some help on the defense. We got a stud in the secondary. Now let's go ahead and get some help on the defensive line. Malachi Lawrence going to be the selection here. So now we get Caleb Downs and Malachi Lawrence on their defense. Lawrence has elite traits. Elite traits. What does he have? Like 35-inch arms, really good explosive burst. Every time you watch this guy, you're like, that is what plays on Sunday. This guy looks like a dominant. He looks like a Danielle Hunter type of clone. Seriously, go watch Danielle Hunter. Go watch Malachi Lawrence. They look somewhat similar, in my opinion. I don't know. We'll see if he can get to that level. The traits, the talent with Malachi Lawrence. He's not a perfect prospect. He's going to have to work in the run game, no doubt about it. But boy, this guy's got some elite talent. He can work behind Bradley Chubb for a season and then be their long-term answer right there off the edge for the Dolphins. And the Dolphins are in a little bit of rebuild mode too, so I'm okay taking guys with some upside that we can develop and grow and build this roster because they're probably going to be in the 2027 quarterback class anyway, so that's kind of my mindset here. On to the Jets here at number 44 overall. We got our quarterback, Drew Aller. I'm going Anthony Hill Jr. here. Anthony Hill Jr. Every time I watch Anthony Hill, and I've just recently watched him again, he kind of reminded me why like I need to stop sleeping on this guy. He's a stud. He's one of the better linebackers. I think he might be one of the best linebackers in this. He might be number 2 right behind Sonny Styles. He is just all over the football field. Coverage stuff can be continued to improve, but generally speaking, I think Hill is a difference maker as a linebacker and just somebody that goes flying everywhere. On to the Baltimore Ravens here at 45. I'm taking interior defensive line. We double dip, we double rip it up. Christian Miller, defensive tackle from Georgia. They got to go ahead with Nnamdi Madubuike's injury situation and how whether or not he'll be back. I hope he is, but right now they need to improve that interior anyway. So Miller's going to do that with his strong, powerful force. Now we are on to the Bucks after trading up for Sonny Styles in the first round. And I'm going to be selecting Derek Moore. Add pass rush, add some defensive line help. Derek Moore is another underrated player in this draft class right now. And when he gets to his combine and pre-testing, all those sort of things, he's going to really shoot up some boards. Just his film too is really, really good. I think he was one of their better players on Michigan this past season. Actually, I don't think he was one of their best players on that defensive line. I mean, Benny was good too, but I still think that Moore was outstanding for them at Michigan and gives them some more pass rush on that defensive line. Now we go on to the Indianapolis Colts. So Hosea Stewart, his teammate last year, was excellent too for the Rams this season. He was a steal for them. Colts are going Hosea Trotter, linebacker from Mizzou. Add in that guy next to Jair Franklin, and he is going to be the big time enforcer for that defense in the Indianapolis Colts. On the Atlanta Falcons, and this is a pick that I do way too often. I do need to change it up, but I love the fit. Jeremy Bernard. They need a yak merchant in their offense. They need somebody that's like get the ball in his hands. Get Michael Penix let him get the ball out quick and let their playmakers make plays. On to the Minnesota Vikings. And at 49, after going in the secondary route in the first round with Avion, I'm going to go ahead and take Jadarian Price, running back from Notre Dame. He's an excellent runner. He's an explosive burst back guy, north-south hitter, and I think he can improve his receiving and pass protection stuff, but those are things that a lot of times running backs have to learn at the next level anyway. But Jadarian Price, the skill set, the tools to be their elite number 1 runner going forward. On to the Detroit Lions now. Number 50, we got Caden Proctor with their first pick. Now I'm switching it up. You go defensive line, right? D'Angelo Pons. Woo! I love D'Angelo Pons. He is small but mighty. He's going to be their Armika Robinson replacement, basically. And yes, this guy is again a juiced up Armika Robinson, insane athlete or fluid athlete. I don't know if he's going to be like a 4-3 athlete type of thing, but like he's just a super fluid, hyper aggressive cornerback. Is exactly what I love from cornerbacks. Boy, this guy hangs in tough. Even when he gets beat, he comes back fighting every single time. So he's just a dude, like as a corner, you're going to get beat. You have to be able to bounce back. D'Angelo Pons showed that through and through all the time, came up clutch when it mattered most, and was a key to that IU defense. Now we go on to the Panthers. Number 51 overall. We got Keldrick Folk in the first round. I'm going back to Auburn. Connor Lew, another pick that I like a lot for them. I just think it makes a lot of sense to get that center of the future if they don't bring back Cade Mace, which I'd love him to be back. But if he's not back, then go ahead and get yourself that center. Green Bay Packers, 52. I'm going to go ahead and select Chris Johnson. Help that secondary. Their secondary is going to be a lot different here in the next couple of years. Hobbs may be on the way out after this next season. And then also even Keyshawn Nixon, probably not going to get a re-sign. You have to think Valentine you could upgrade there. Valentine's been okay. He's been up and down, a little streaky. But Chris Johnson helps you out here into that secondary. Give them some more talent. Give them some more pipeline in the secondary. I think they could look at center too. They could look at defensive tackle. Those are all the areas I'd be looking for the Packers, depending on what they do in free agency. On to the Pittsburgh Steelers. And with that first pick, we got Omar Cooper in the shocker. Now we're going to go ahead and select defense. Keionte Scott to slide into that slot position. And Brandon Eagles is an area where I feel like they could upgrade. Have Eagles as more of a 4th guy. I feel better about that. So you go into next season, help out that secondary with Keionte Scott, maybe the best slot corner in the draft, certainly up there with Traden Stukes. I think those are your 2 best slot corners in the draft. So try and help out the secondary for the Steelers. Now we go on to the Eagles, and I'm going to go ahead and also improve the secondary. I'm going to get that Reed Blankenship replacement in Kamari Ramsey. You got this 2 young stud between Mukaba and Ramsey. I think Ramsey is he's going to be a guy, right? He's going to be somebody that comes in there. Maybe he's not the most flashy, most playmaking dude, but you got Mukaba, who's more your playmaker. Ramsey's that solid back-end guy that doesn't give up a lot of big plays. On to the Chargers. Number 55 overall. I'm going to select our Mason Thomas, edge rusher from OU, to just add more bolstering talent. I mean, defensive tackle would be my priority here. However, with the way the board fell, a lot of defense tackles off the board. So I went after the edge position, which could also use more talent. Even if Odafe Owe is back, Tui Tuipulotu, R. Mason Thomas, and Odafe Owe, build yourself a young little edge rushing duo. Maybe Kyle Kanar can get in there too. But anyway, that's like my talent level up in their threshold, trying to build a talent young core. And Tui Pelotu can also play a little interior as well. Anyway, you go on, and they got a lot of money to spend at free agency too. Jaguars, number 56 overall. I'm selecting Devin Moore, corner from Florida. Big physical outside cornerback with immense size. I mean, he knows how to pick off some good quarterbacks out there in the SEC, such as Arch Manning. And yeah, he's got some good size. There's no doubt teams are going to covet that size profile and the athleticism profile. I like his ability to play bump and run coverage too for the Jags, and that's something they like to do out there. So Devin Moore brings you that ability on the perimeter. And Busta's a free agent too. Hopefully he's back, but if he's not, then you got to think about that. And Newsome as well, free agent. On to the Chicago Bears, number 57 overall. And the Bears, I'm going with AJ Halsey, a hard-hitting dude, man. If you watch him, you come away with, yeah, that guy can thump. He can bring the boom, and that's what we're trying to bring to the secondary. Jaquan Brisker is a free agent. Maybe they bring him back. Who knows? I don't know exactly what's going to work out right now, but between Byard and Brisker, maybe they only bring back one of those dudes. I probably would prioritize Byard, even though he's, a little bit older now. He's still really good. So if you bring him, that would be a good 1-2 punch. Now we go on to the 49ers. We had a Cage, Casey, the Cage. I was telling you about the smashing machine where we're getting that Cage monster. Plug and play left guard. I am a huge Casey fan. Can't wait to see what he looks like at the Senior Bowl. Put him right in there for Spencer Burford, who's a free agent. And Connor Colby, we'll see. He can still develop, but generally speaking, I think Cage is going to be an upgrade big time. On to the Houston Texans here, number 59 overall, and we're going to be selecting edge rusher T.J. Parker. So we got interior defense line, we got offensive line, and now we go ahead and grab some more edge talent for the future for them. Danielle Hunter going to a contract year. You never know. Parker can be that, or at least a rotational player for them. And Barnett's a free agent too. Maybe they keep bringing him back, but something to think about. More talent, more juice. Let's go. Keep those guys, Mr. Anderson, the Hunter, fresh. On to the Buffalo Bills, number 60 overall. I'm going to be selecting ourselves a offensive guard, Chase Bisontes. Plug and play. I mean, there's just not much else to say. Put him right in there for David Edwards, who's a free agent. I mean, Connor McGovern's a free agent as well, so they're going to have to figure that situation out. Ultimately, they got to go ahead and improve that offensive line. They did draft a Georgia center. Maybe he ends up, locking in there for them at the center position. On to the Los Angeles Rams, 61 overall. I'm going with Dejon Stripling, offensive wide weapon receiving option, whatever extraordinaire from Ole Miss, who gives you that another outside weapon to go along here with Puka Nacua for the future. He can be that wide receiver 3 going into next season with Devontae Adams. And just what he brings outside, that physical presence. He's got really good speed, too, for his size. And he seems like he can separate. I feel like he can separate fine. I don't see any problems there. So just adding another wide receiver into that young core with Puka. Now we go ahead and add into the Broncos, where I am going to improve the linebacker position, Jake Goulday. We went after Kenyon Sadiq in the first round. Now I add ourselves a stud linebacker. Dre Greenlaw's injury situation. Singleton's a free agent. They got Justice Chanad's also a free agent. So finding a linebacker. Sanders, we don't know just yet how that's situation is going to work out. But I think Jake Goulday brings a big-time upgrade in that linebacking room. On to New England now. We're going to Blake Miller, right tackle at Clemson. He's going to be that developmental right tackle for them behind Morgan Moses. Doesn't have to start right away. However, long-term, protect your quarterback, Drake May. Boom, easy pick, right? Seattle, final pick of the second round. I'm going to go ahead and select ourselves a offensive lineman as well, Jennings Dunker. He's dunking on dudes with his run blocking. Look at that tattoo, man. I just noticed that. Look at that sucker. That thing is flying high. Oh, my gosh, like a dragon. I don't even know what the heck is that, man. I'd take a look, but that is pretty crazy. He's got another one on that other sleeve, too, out there, but he is an absolute physical monster, a warrior, a road grader. Give him a sword. He-Man. That's what he looks like. He-Man. He'll play there. That movie's coming out here soon. I'm going to be curious to see how that goes, but Jennings Dunker, put him over at right guard, move him to the inside. Lock in for round number 3, final of this draft. I'm going to start with Arizona, where we're improving the defensive interior. We're taking Darrell Jackson Jr. He's over at the Shrine right now. He just doesn't know how to use his hands just yet and, work on his leverage. But, boy, this guy's got insane talent. He's just so strong. He's so long. This guy is got like 35-inch arms and just can rock dudes right back. Yeah, if he can work on some things, man, the leverage and the technique, he can be a really, really big time enforcer. And who knows, right? Like a Dion Walker type of build. He just brings a lot of that to the table. And for the Cardinals, Calais Campbell is a free agent. Maybe he ends up retiring. Even if he comes back, I mean, I would love to see him come back. He's still playing at our super high level. But Daryl Jackson really adds to that oomph. Dalvin Tomlinson's taking a step back too. So him and Walter Nolan, I love that combination. Jackson and Nolan, and even Nolan's going to take some time too. So they need to improve their depth this offseason. Now we have the Titans are on the clock, and I am going to help the pass rush now. This is something we got to do. Romello Height, a juiced up warrior there who brings speed, speed, speed. Oh my goodness. This guy has got some explosiveness. He's got bend. He can really get that. He can be the Bryce Huff for Robert Saleh. I am excited too. The fact they got Brian Dable as their OC. I mean, it's still to be determined what the Raiders are going to do and whatnot. But boy, that's a good combination. Robert Saleh and Brian Dable to help Cam Ward. And now we get ourselves somebody like that Bryce Huff, as I mentioned before, and Romello Height for Robert Saleh's defense is that pass rushing extraordinaire specialist. Yep, let's go. Let's bring it. We got secondary up. We got a wide receiver. Just trying to build out this whole basis for the Tennessee Titans. We go on to the Raiders here at number 67 overall. We've gone defense pretty heavily. Let's go get a playmaker for Fernando, right? Fernando. Ted Hurst is going to be that guy. The George Pickens comp is out there with Ted Hurst, and I see it. Like, that guy's got that outside vertical track, explosive speed. He's super difficult to cover in those one-on-one situations like that. And he's got some good length to him as well, so he can pick plays above the rim. Can't wait to see what he'll be like at the Senior Bowl. Those one-on-ones are going to be fun to watch. He can make some money and easily work himself into a round 2 conversation with a good Senior Bowl. But for right now, there's a little bit of a, I guess, conservative approach here at 67 for the Raiders. On to the Eagles at 68. And this is the pick from the Jets, unfortunately, right? Now for Eagles fans, Chris Brazzell. I'm also going to try to help out the wide receiving room here. With the whole notion, A.J. Brown, who knows, he could be on the way out very soon. I'm going to improve this wide receiving room, at least to be a wide receiver 3 for them. It's been something they've been trying to fill out for a little bit. Jahan Dotson hasn't quite been able to do that consistently wise. Maybe some of it's on Hurts too, Jalen Hurts, but they still got to improve the wide receiving room. It's a lot of things. Offensive line was in consideration there too, but hey, we improved the defense. Let's get some offense help. Now we go ahead and look at the Houston Texans here. I'm going with Eli Stowers, tight end from Vanderbilt. Yes, he's a little bit, you wonder, is he a bit of a gadget guy, and how is he going to project as a true tight end at the next level? But the athleticism, the traits there are all really insane with Stowers. And just the way Vanderbilt used him, we don't exactly know. But like the athletic profile is all there, and he can be that understudy behind Dalton Schultz for a season. On to the Dallas Cowboys. After trading down with Cleveland, this is that pick that we acquired in the 3rd round. I'm going to select Jonah Coleman, running back from Washington. He's not the most long speed guy, but he's got that explosive 10 to 20 yard burst. And boy, is he thick. Oh my gosh, this guy is he's a lumberjacker, man. Like, these are just like little like, he is I mean, what else is there to say about this guy? I'd hate to go into the weight room with him because I'd look like an idiot next to this guy. He's working too hard out there. I mean, unbelievable. Coleman is a great in between the tackles runner. And just in case, right? I mean, there's really a chance that Javonte Williams is not, I mean, he's going to get a bigger contract, and Cowboys are going to have to pick and choose what they're going to do. So Jonah Coleman gives him a nice running back there in the 3rd. Commanders on the clock at 71 overall. And we've gone defense with both of these first picks, or sorry, with their first pick. And let's continue that trend here with Dominic Orange. So back-to-back defensive picks because they need help on their defense and their defensive lines especially. So Dominic Orange going to come in there, be that run defender for them. Eddie Goldman's a free agent who, he had a really good season. I bring him back. Deron Payne probably on the way out with his contract. Not to say he was terrible this season, but they could probably start thinking about that. So you get Dominic Orange in there with Jerzani Newton, who's more of a pass rushing specialist. And then you've got Javon Kinlaw as your one locked-in starter. So Orange can work in there. Maybe not the greatest season for Orange, but I still think he's a really talented guy that gives him good run defender up on that interior. Shifting in to the Bengals, number 72 overall, where I am going to be selecting tackle Jude Bowery from Boston College. He's the left tackle there. He's another guy who's going to be at the Senior Bowl. I think he is a very underrated player. He's somebody that his athletic profile and his overall size, he's got 34-inch arms. He just checks off so many of the boxes. Yes, some of the strength profile is going to be the big question. I want to see how much he gets pushed back at the Senior Bowl, but I do like what he has as a potential. He can develop for a season behind Orlando Brown and be their long-term left tackle. He might need a season though of training and strength profile, and that's fine. In the third round, if you're getting a guy like that who can be a developmental left tackle, I'm all for it. But there's just so many things about Bowery. I think he could be a really high level player with some added strength to his game. He also was dealing with some injuries this past season, which kind of hurt him a bit because we didn't see that next level progression per se. On to the Saints, number 73 overall. I'm going with edge rusher Gabe Akis from Illinois. Really talented guy, knows how to use his hands, and has a different plethora of pass rush moves. And he's just somebody that I think can help out and bolster that defensive line with Cam Jordan, likely maybe on in retirement. We go into the Chiefs here at number 74 overall, and I am going to try to improve the defensive line as well. We got a pass catcher, we got some help in the back end at safety, and now we go ahead and in Zion Young at edge to give him that strong, pass rush ability that he has. And he's just that motor. He's that guy who's the relentless dude coming after the quarterback. You see it. He plays with a chip on his shoulder. And I know Tom Brady likes to say that a lot, but I love it, man. And Zion Young brings it, and somebody that they could really go in there with George Karloff, this Mike Dana, could be a cap casualty this offseason. And then we go on to the Miami Dolphins at 75 overall. And Dolphins, let's go ahead and add to their secondary Davidson Igabanoson. He is a sticky corner that's extremely physical, needs to stop being so physical, right? Where it's like the flags, flags, flags all the time. But Igabanoson is the dinosaur of the cornerback. Like, he is just that locked in guy that gives you the velociraptor out there and the coverage unit. And doesn't that sound like a dinosaur name? Igabanoson? That's like some sort of ancient fossil from the 200 BC days or something like that. But they need to bolster their secondary. Pretty self-explanatory with Jack Jones and also um, Rasul Douglas being a free agent. Pittsburgh, number 78 overall, 76 overall. Ooh, we're getting a little ahead of ourselves. We're going with Caleb Tiernan, tackle from Northwestern. He could also play guard, I think, for them early on. Like Isaac Samala's a free agent. I expect him to be back. But if he wasn't, then Tiernan could plug in there. I don't see why he couldn't. He's got shorter arms. He's got an interesting build because he's like a really upright, tall build. So putting him on the interior may not be the best scenario. But I still think he could hang up in there. I like him. I think he's really good and savvy with his hands. And he could be their long-term left tackle. That's kind of like my idea of it too. On to the Bengals here, and we are going to, they're back on the clock. This was the trade down, sorry, from Tampa Bay. Zachariah Branch, wide receiver, gives him that explosive speed, yak monster. Andre Yoshavash was a little up and down this season. So just at least adding another guy, that third element in this offense, and Branch, the skill set, he just put him up the seams. Let him fly. Use him as a decoy. This pick alone as a decoy is worth it. It's going to allow Jamar Chase and T. Higgins to get more isolated coverage over the middle of the field. Just an easy one for me, right? It's just one where I'm like, yeah, this is a fit that I love. I think would be a fantastic ad for the Bengals and scary as well for Joe Burrow in this offense. So I got to add up some sort of offense in here, right? On to the Indianapolis Colts, number 78 overall. We had in the linebacker Hosea Trotter. With this next pick, I'm going to go ahead and take a defensive interior. And that guy is Xavier Harris from Ole Miss. Just another one of these dudes that has insane size profile. You think of the Deone Walkers and the impact he made early on in the NFL. Xavier Harris could do a lot of that. He's a disruptor in the backfield. As a run defender, man, oh man, he's a problem. He's just got so much length, so much power that it's going to be a problem for these interior offense linemen. I mean, if you're a smaller interior guy and you're going up against this guy right here, look at that guy. I don't want to mess with that dude. You kidding me? Actually, no, he ain't going to mess with me. Dude, come on, Xavier. You ain't got nothing on me. I'm Gislin. I do my thing. Dude is a monster. And with DeForest Buckner and Grover Stewart getting a little bit older now, and start thinking about the interior. On to the Atlanta Falcons, 79. We're taking a Julian Neal, and we're getting names mixed up here, but Julian Neal, star corner from Air Arkansas. He's somebody that gives him some good size on the perimeter. He can take a year to develop behind Mike Hughes over on the perimeter. Just give him some more depth too in the secondary. They got to think about adding into pieces, getting a little bit of help onto that secondary because they did have more injuries, Hughes and stuff. So at least finding somebody on the perimeter that could be a good developmental guy for Hughes, who is still under contract, but going to the last year of his deal, and they just generally could use a little bit of an upgrade there anyway. We're on to the New Orleans Saints, the division rivals over here. We traded this pick is from Baltimore after that trade down in the first round, and we are going to be selecting Traden Stukes, cornerback from Arizona. Alontae Taylor is a free agent, so if they don't bring him back, they're going to need some help in that slot position. Stukes is one of the best, if not the best slot corner in this draft. He's physical, he's athletic, he's got, playmaking skills and instincts. There's just not much about Stukes. He's not an elite athlete. Don't quote me on, I don't think he's an elite athlete personally, but who knows? He may test better than what I think, but his film is great. And he's somebody that I think that is starting to get some more buzz for good reason. I think he'll ultimately make his way into the top 75. I mean, he's a slot corner, but still, like, this guy has got all the tenaciousness to in the run game that I love to see. He'll fit right into that slot position if Alontae Taylor's not back. We go on to the Jags here, and with the Jags pick, I'm going to go ahead and select Oscar Delp, tight end from Georgia. I am a huge Oscar Delp truther. He's one of those guys that I just feel like he's kind of going under the radar a little bit because he doesn't get much production at Georgia. He just is so athletic. He's a smooth route runner, and he's also a good blocker. And the Jags are going to value that immensely, his blocking skills alone, but also the ability to be a pass catcher in this offense. The Minnesota Vikings, though, here at number 82, and I'm going to go and grab a Parker Brailsford from Alabama, give them that center of the future, especially with Ryan Kelly's concussion situation and whatnot. Look, in the third round, we can draft and develop Parker Brailsford. I love Brailsford. Just got to get better in run blocking, but boy, he's a great pass protector. Carolina now at number 83 overall. And for Carolina, I'm going with Torian York. He is somebody that every time you turn on that Texas A&M film, yes, he's small, but boy, is this guy got a little Gary Brackett vibes to him. He is just the ultimate dude coming downhill, making plays in the run game through and through. And I think he's a great combination skill set with a guy like Trayvon Wallace. And Wallace has more of that coverage ability and size profile, whereas York's more just that downhill threshold, come at you at 2,000 miles an hour and beat you up, right? Sort of thing. Even though his size, you say, oh, he's not going to beat a whole ton of people up at the next level. But boy, do I love the way he is as a playmaker at that middle portion of the field. And he played early on in his career too at Texas A&M. Like, he was a dude you could tell as a freshman he was going to be a guy. Green Bay on the clock here at 84, and I'm going to go and select Tim Keenan III from Alabama to be their interior run defender enforcer. They need a guy that can stop the run, just help out, right? And clear up lanes for Devontae Wyatt if they bring back Colby Wooden. And, they got Carl Brooks, needs some help up on the interior as that big monster in the middle. Pittsburgh at 85, I am going to get Cole Wisniewski here from Texas Tech. He's somebody that's on a lot of people's radar right now with his size and athletic profile. Boy, another Red Raider. I mean, there's a lot of Red Raiders that could go in the top 100 in this draft. That's pretty wild, but they're a good football team, and they got some good football players. This dude can basically be their Kyle Duggar replacement here, and Duggar hasn't really worked out in my opinion, but it is what it is. So Wisniewski gives him an upgrade there. On to the Chargers, the San Diego Superchargers. Man, go back to San Diego. No, LA is fine. Will Lee the third selection from Texas A&M, and he has got some good size. They need to bolster the depth at the cornerback position for them this offseason. I think that's a key priority. They dealt with a lot of injuries at the cornerback position. And having some depth is really, really important. Yes, he is a corner, not a linebacker. I mean, I don't know. I guess he is pretty physical. I guess he could try to, pop him in there. They also could use a linebacker too. But on to Commanders here at number 87 overall, where we argue this is the pick from Miami that we got in that trade down in the first round. I'm going to select Elijah Surratt. Go and get some offensive playmakers in here for Jaden Daniels. And Elijah Surratt gives him another physical outside guy, and with Scary Terry, it's a good complementary skill set. Like, Terry's your deep speed guy. You got Surratt, who's going to be more your move the chains, back shoulder guy. And I think he fits the skill set really, really well with Jaden Daniels and some of those back shoulder throws, vertical throws that he can make on the perimeter, being so accurate that he is. So Elijah Surratt comes in and gives him that help in that wide receiving core. Now we go on to the Jags here, back on the clock at 88, and we are going to be selecting ourselves an edge rusher. I still would like interior defensive line, trying to find some help, but I think Joshua Josephs is just the best player available. He's a really good edge rusher, really talented guy. I thought he was their best defensive lineman on Tennessee this season. and just trying to bolster that depth because that is something that they really need to look at with Walker and Josh Hines Allen. Who's that third guy for them? And I think Joshua Josephs can be that dude. On the Bears here, number 89 overall, where we are going to be selecting Trey Zune the third guard in this case scenario. I don't think he's going to be a tackle just because he's got shorter arms and more than likely his profile fits next best profiling him, right? But I think he's probably going to be best on the interior at the next level. Great pass protector. Great pass protector. He hung up well against the Banes and the Mesidors. So one thing I will say about Zune is I think he's a guy I feel confident about in pass protection wise. And run blocking, maybe not the most powerful, the most stout or anything like that, but generally speaking, he could be the Joe Thuney long-term answer there, or Jonah Jackson. They may have to get younger, get a little cheaper on that interior at some point. So Zune at least gives them some more depth there and help them out on that interior. And now we go on here to the Miami Dolphins, where at number 90, we're going to be selecting ourselves some help on offense. Skylar Bell, wide receiver from UConn, a really shifty playmaker in the slot position for them that they can bring in with Jalen Waddle. I think he's a great separator, and he had a great season at UConn once again. And him and Fagiano, man, he's another guy maybe start rising up. I think he'll be a draft pick, probably on day 3 is my guess. But Skylar Bell and Jalen Waddle, give yourself a little young core. I thought about a big wide receiver too here. However, I thought Skylar Bell was just kind of the best available and a really good playmaker into their wide receiving core. Buffalo at number 91, I'm going to select the edge rusher / defensive lineman, Anthony Lucas. Really talented in terms of like the physical raw traits, but the overall technique and getting after the quarterback is very raw. And that's to me why he's more of a project. When you get to like this point in the draft, you take guys that are toolsy, that have elite traits that could be with some development, really good football players. And that's kind of where I'm at with Anthony Lucas. And with Landon Jackson's injury situation, you may want to try to bolster that edge talent a little bit. Plus a free agent's going to be needed. Maybe bring back Bosa. 49ers on the clock, going with Joe Royer, tight end from Cincinnati, the Bearcat, going to help out that tight end room. George Kittle, unfortunately, might be out for a good chunk of next season. So let's improve it. Royer is an athletic guy and just super reliable hands, too, there at Cincinnati. We go on to the Rams at 93, where we are going to be selecting ourselves center / guard Jake Slaughter. Slaughter is going to come into this team. He's going to be a developmental guy for them. And in the 3rd round, that's fine. But he could be guard or center. With Coleman Shelton, somebody, on the horizon free in 2027, I believe. Same thing with Kevin Dotson. Maybe they only bring back one of those guys. So having a developmental guy there, I think is kind of critical. And that's why I'm going to go ahead and take Jake Slaughter here as that developmental piece on the interior. He's got all the tools to be a starter for them down the line. Now we move on to the Denver Broncos here at number 94 overall, where I'm going to try to find a John Franklin Myers type of guy. This is a pick that I love, but LT Overton, I think he's that guy where you move him in as a 3-4 base defensive end. That to me is his best fit at the next level. I love his strong hands. I think he's a good block shedder. He's explosive enough to get after the quarterback. I mean, he's not an elite athlete, but he's like a very fluid athlete, and he can move inside and gaps really, really easy. So he's just a fluid guy more than explosive guy, and that's okay. And as I said before, move him more to the inside, and he can be more of a rusher up on their interior of the defensive line. He's got the strength profile to do that. Now let's go on to the Patriots here at 96, 95 overall, and I want to add a playmaker on offense, and I want to start thinking about their tight end position. I'm going with Max Clare, the Flair. He is somebody that has Purdue Boilermaker, by the way, but former Purdue Boilermaker. He gives them that ability at tight end behind, with Hooper being a free agent. Hunter Henry's getting a little bit older now, too, and he'll eventually be a free agent, I believe, in 2027. So finding that guy for the long haul, Claire, give him a year to that develop, and hopefully he can be that number 1 guy later down the line. But Claire at least gives him that number 2 tight end right away. Let's go on here to the Seattle Seahawks at 96, where I am going to be selecting ourselves running back Emmett Johnson from Nebraska. Hey, this is one of those areas now with Charbonnet being likely out for at least a little bit. They need to continue to bolster that running back position. I do think Kenneth Walker will be back, but if he's not, then you really are going to have to look at running back possibly a little bit earlier. But Johnson gives them that rotation with Charbonnet likely out for a good chunk of next season. This might be a bigger priority for them. Maybe they go free agency route, who knows? But if they're going to pay K9, then you might want to say, let's turn to the draft that we're not paying all these running backs too. So all those sort of things to think about. They're going to have to choose more than likely between Charbonnet and K9 at some point. So making that decision is going to be critical. Emmett Johnson provides that number 2 back for them in the long haul. Good vision runner, north south guy. On to the Vikings at number 70, 97, and I am going to select Zakee Wheatley from Penn State. We need a safety. I mean, I could totally see them going safety earlier, just kind of with the way it went out and the board and stuff like that. I felt like the value here now with Wheatley at 97 made it a lot of sense. And not the vodka or anything like that, but certainly a dude in the back end that could give us some more help. They're going to have to go on free agency too in this case scenario. Bring in a guy maybe on a 1-year contract, have Wheatley be a developmental guy, and you can go from there. But they do need to at least bolster that secondary with Harrison Smith, maybe likely being retiring and whatnot. Eagles, number 98 overall, as we're getting close to the end of this draft, I am going to be selecting Eli Raridan from Notre Dame, the tight end, who kind of has the Terrence Ferguson vibes from me in this draft class, but he ultimately can be that all-down, three-down player, inline guy, has the vertical speed. He can be a playmaker as a receiver and can also be an impact as a blocker. And with Dallas Goedert being a free agent, if he's not back, then they will have to, answer in free agency in combination with the draft. And even if Goddard's back, they could still draft somebody to be a number 2 tight end. It wouldn't shock me, right? They've done that before with these tight ends, is give them contracts, but then they go out and draft a tight end. I've seen that before with the Eagles. Let's go on to Pittsburgh 99, where I am going to select. This is the quarterback selection here. Garrett Nussmeier from LSU. Let's go ahead and take a chance on a quarterback. I have no idea what Mike McCarthy's plans are going to be at quarterback this offseason. Does he go free agency route? Does he try to go quarterback? Is Ty Simpson on the board for them? And is that something that they consider? However, I'm going to take a chance on Nussmeier. It was a rough season. There's no getting around it. He's a smaller quarterback, too. So that's something you have to look at. He's not mobile, but boy, can he rip it over the middle of the field. He's got the instincts on that. We're just taking a chance. That's what it is. We're taking a chance. Probably more just a backup, but that's okay. On to the Jags' final pick of the draft. Let's finish it off with a doozy, a guy that I'm a huge fan of. He's just somebody that he makes you an offer you can't refuse. You can't turn him down. Dante Corleone, the Godfather, the Bearcat. He's looked pretty strong there at the East West Shrine Bowl. He's big, he's wide, and he's somebody that can just take the lanes and make them disappear for running backs, right? Like he's that type of guy. He's a monster mold in the middle. Even though they got Devon Hamilton, he's had some injury history and stuff. I mean, he was relatively healthy this season and whatnot, so that's good. But still, they could use some more help on the interior. They need probably more of a pass for sure. I get that, but Corleone can push the pocket too. So Eric Armstead getting a little bit older, always things that they need to think about on the interior defensive line. Mason Smith hasn't quite worked out at this point, so we need to think about that. Maybe I should have dressed a little bit sooner, but for right now, kind of way the board felt. Sometimes it's a little bit trickier to find these interior guys, and that's where I'm rocking it up with Dante Corleone. So that's it here for the 3-round mock draft. Let me know what you think. Agree or disagree. Hope you guys have a really good day. And keep it coolin', keep it rocking, and keep smashing.